Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 26 of Drone Therapy. It's a J-Drone Halloween. I, myself, and Dead Thomas, in my Deadpool shirt that my wife bought me, and with my co-hosts, I will let them spookily pass themselves around and introduce themselves. First, I will chat to, I think he looks like Mr. Luigi. Where's Mario, Luigi?
I'm a Luigi. Hey guys, it's always good to be back. Good to see J-Drone here. You guys know me. I'm John or I'm Luigi. I do FPV, I do camera bird stuff, and with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to Ethan.
Hey guys, I'm glad to see everybody's out with us this evening. I'm excited to finally meet J-Drone and Jason and talk with him about his channel. And the big thing that we're all excited to talk about is the new Mavic Mini tonight. Oh, yeah. And with that, I'll pass it over to Ron.
Thank you so much, Ethan. It's great to be in the show tonight. I'm in costume too. I just lost my. No, I didn't. My costume is I'm a spin up attendee or whatever. And I'm here to do a little spin up recap at some point in the show. So it's good to be back. We're going to be talking about the Mavic Mini tonight. Bill and I may be talking a little bit about the Skydio 2 release date notes or whatever. So it's a couple good little teasers there. It's going to be a great show tonight because we got the famous J-Drone in the house with us tonight. So I'm going to throw it back to Bill right now, and he can start the show off with talking to Jay.
I just want to give a quick shout out into the audience real quick. We got 3X drones here, Idaho quadcopter, phenomena. I'm not going to hit you like Paul does, but I'm really tempted. Josh from Parks and Tech, Greg Pittman, David Smith. There's some guy named Ethan Mitchell. Ethan. Oh yeah, Ethan Mitchell. And without further ado, I just wanted to thank you very much, Jay, for coming on the show with us tonight and having fun for Halloween. And guys, I already told him this earlier. The biggest thing I was curious about, Jay, was what got you into drones? What got you into the hobby and reviewing and all that stuff?
So I guess you haven't heard the story. It was a supernatural experience. Believe it or not. No, I'm not lying. All right. So prior to being in this hobby, I'm traditionally a jock or a motorhead or whatnot. I like to mountain bike. I like to mountain climb, etc. But I was taking my dog out. And it's a small dog. He gets tied out outside. So I'm tying him out, and I'm hearing this noise. What is that? And it's getting closer, and it's getting louder, and it's getting closer. My dog's tied out. I'm ready to go inside, and I look up, and it's about dusk. I see 4 LEDs above my head. No clue what it is. It's moving in this direction, hovering over my head. I start yelling for my wife. I think I'm done. I think I'm being abducted. I think I'm going to be sucked up by aliens. And my wife comes flying out. Meanwhile, this thing, which again, I have no clue of what it is, just stops. It was stopped. It was hovering. Now it goes in the opposite direction. It disappears. So my wife probably thinks I'm nuts. And then I get on Google and I start looking up buzzing noise, 4 LEDs, and drones. Drones come up, and then eventually the following Christmas, my wife got me a drone, and she probably wished she never had. But that's the exact experience that got me into this.
Well, that's super cool, and I'm glad. I know, and honest with you, I did not know the story, and I'm kind of glad that this was the episode I found out.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions before we? Because I got tons of questions.
You go ahead, Bill. I've had Jay on our show, so I'm going to let you take your shot at him.
Okay, I know you've been asked this a million times, but we potentially might have some new viewers with the new Mavic Mini, which we'll get to later, and all these new channels that are going to pop up as a result. How did you get into reviewing drones? What did you?
I wanted more drones. To be quite honest, I wanted more drones, and I was buying retail. I was buying out of a store called Ball Scouts. I don't know if that's a nationwide store or whatnot, but I was buying strikers from World Tech Toys for $70 a clip, and I was flying in snow up to my knees. I was breaking them, I was fixing them, and that's the death cycle that I was doing with retail. And then finally I started watching YouTube like we all do and seeing Quadcopter 101. So it's like, all right, this dude seems pretty knowledgeable. Let me try to reach out to him and contact him. And I did. I was able to get a hold of him on Facebook, And I decided that I was going to buy from GearBest, but I thought it was really shady. I never bought from China before, never dealt with the e-packet before. So I started questioning them. I'm like, look, is this a reputable site? Because I see that you fly stuff from them and you're essentially promoting them. And he went to the line to say, he's like, look, I generally don't buy everything that I fly. He's like, whoa, what do you mean you don't buy everything that you fly? It's like, well, this is what I do. I make videos. I try to be as knowledgeable as possible, and then retailers approach me. And it's like, okay, I love flying drones. I at the rate I'm fine paying $70 for essentially what was a SEMA X5C that I didn't know at that juncture, and that was just the domino effect. Talking with Quadcopter 101 and me, I'm like, well, I like the way he does it, and honestly, I love the dude. I talk to him very periodically, but I love him. No beef with him. Beginning of his videos, he puts me to sleep. He really does. He does an excellent job going over button configuration and going over super heavy setup. Where myself, I thought I could put a different spin. Where it's maybe people feel the same way I do, where it's like, all right, just get the drone in there and show me how it works and show me the footage. And so that's how I got started in the reviewing drones and flying drones and whatnot.
Oh, that's super cool, man. Because I don't know. I kind of went about it the backward way. Like when the big boom occurred, like John was already in there. Ryan from RD Reviews, glad to have you in here. Marcus from Idaho Quadcopter, Drone Shots, Jody, you're in here. Birdman 316 RC said, "Hey Jay," just a little bit ago.
What up, Birdman?
Yeah, so I kind of went at it the wrong way, I guess you would say. That's kind of why I wanted to get your story about it, because your channel's kind of blown up over the last year and you've been getting a lot more drones and stuff going on, and that's a good thing, and that's why we wanted to get you in here sharing with everybody. Anybody else got a question? Come on, somebody have a question now. You're not like deers in the headlights.
I had one a second ago and I forgot it already.
Oh,
I was going to ask him what he thinks about the Mavic Mini.
There you go. I gotta get another.
I'm definitely buying one. I'm no DJI fanboy. I like to actually stamp on my head that I'm not a DJI fanboy. Of any drones, I'd like to say I'm a Wingsland fanboy. I absolutely love Wingsland stuff, even though they're not top of the line. It's just personal preference for me. But I have 2 Sparks, and I still have a Phantom 3 Standard that my Sparks have sidelined. I think this drone, I think the new Mavic Mini is going to sideline my Spark. I really do. With the specs that are out there on it and the price point. The price point is what has me ready to buy it. For a 3-axis gimbal that's able to shoot, I think they said, 2.7K. It's not going to be 4K. With 4K, I could care less about. I do everything in 1080. Right. I do everything in 1080p anyway. I love 1080p, 60 frames per second. But I'm excited for it. And for people out of the United States, I know I have lots of friends in Canada. The rules are super strict on drones. Really excited about it, and even in the United Kingdom, they have pretty stringent rules. So it's definitely going to be a game changer. And I did do a live feed talking specifically about this earlier today. And one thing that I had said is there's a lot of anti-DJI people out there. I think this is going to open up the door to some of those anti-DJI people who flat out refuse. I'm not buying DJI because it's expensive. This is going to be at that price point where, as long as it does what it's supposed to, you're going to have a lot of people that said, "I'll never fly DJI," who's probably going to tiptoe and put their toes in the water and probably going to get it.
Okay, we have a question. David Smith asked Jay, how is the Aosenma CGO35? He still has his.
I do still have mine. I have 3 of them that I run. My blue one that I sprayed blue has a motor down, so that's just a shelf ornament right now until I get into it and replace the motor. But I have 2 other ones that I run religiously. The CG035, I love the mechanical ability of the drone, and you have a lot of that reason. You're grounded in certain areas. DJI equipment will not let you take off in certain areas, as opposed to some of your older Walkera stuff, some of your Aosenma stuff that is it's all mechanical, it's all manual. If you want to take off, you're taking off, and the responsibility is on you. But CG035 is still going good. I think maybe 2 or 3 months ago I did a video with one of them.
Okay, Birdman has something he was shouting out here. He says, "Hey Jay, you getting the Eachine, what is it, Novice 1?
I don't even know what it is.
Have you heard about that too, John? I don't know what he's.
Nope, I haven't heard about that one.
It's a Moby styled whoop, Albert King.
Albert
Oh
King.
wow, yeah. So if Albert's tested it, it must be halfway decent. Okay, so here's the other one. When you started out, you were doing toys and camera birds. You kind of slipped into the Spark and in the AOSINMA and stuff like that. And you kind of, what got you into FPV?
What got me into FPV? You want honesty or you want BS?
No, just tell us what. Like I said, this is a laid back bar, man. Just tell us the straight up stuff.
We want the real Jay. We want the real Jay Joe. Don't hold back on us, buddy.
Okay, so honesty is getting my getting my family jewels busted online. That's what got me into it. Because my channel did blow up rather quickly for several reasons or another, and then I was getting shots from every angle. Before I had a DJI drone, I was getting shots. You don't even have a real drone. You're flying wings, land this and that, this and that. It's like, all right, let me go to Walmart and pick up the Phantom Freestander. It's like, it's the same drone. So after that went, then you got people, you don't even fly FPV. You don't even know how to fly FPV. It's so hard, you couldn't even figure it out. It's like, all right. So I started out with a 010. 010 little AIO inside my house. I was using MJX screen in the back, those goggles. That's what I started out with, and that's what got me into it. And after that, it was just a slow progression into a bunch of other things.
So forgive me if I'm throwing up stuff during the chat. That way I don't have to. Usually there's more interaction, but for some strange, Luigi seems like he's missing Mario really bad, and he seems to usually throw more out there. Like, tell me something new about Nate, John Cuppi.
Something new about Nate?
Nate, what is it? Payne?
Nate Payne?
Yeah. You know anything new about what was it you told? It was a story you told me about him. He basically got what is it? Beta FPV to build his drone.
Yeah, he basically got Beta FPV to put together this little guy, the Beta FPV Pro 2. And there was something else recently that he did, but I'm not recalling it at this time. But yeah, this is a pretty cool flyer. And he's local to your area, right? Seattle FPV dudes. Yep.
Nice.
You can see Ethan was throwing up some comparison stuff. And don't forget that Ethan is still going to have his color grading 2 coming up in a few weeks. So please don't forget, there should be a link in the description. I'll go back and check for sure at the end of the show. Anyone that's interested in the chat, please send some footage and I will flip it over to Ethan and let him go into an explanation about it real quick right here while we take a break and get some more questions all lined up for Jay.
All right, guys. So if you have any footage that you'd like us to color grade live on the air, send a Dropbox link or a Google Drive link to the link in the description. What we're looking for is about anywhere from a 20-second or 30-second clip, raw straight off the SD card, and that way we can put it through the editor without any kind of image quality degradation. So, and then we'll go through the steps to color grade it with Final Cut Pro.
Ethan, would you like to send you some Skydio video?
Sure.
Ooh.
From my review unit?
I don't think. Well, and since Ron brought that up,
so I take it you don't have one. If you did, yeah.
It's under NDA. It's under the desk here. I can't show it on camera.
I'm really interested to see how the Skydio camera does.
I am too. You're gonna hear all about it when it gets here, Ethan.
Very good.
Okay, something else to we'll shift gears a little bit. Hey, Greg Pittman, glad to have you in here. Birdman says Beta FPV 85 Pro 2, right, John? He has the same one.
Yes.
Okay, but yeah, anyway, Nate lives probably about, 20 miles down the road from me. I've been, I said it was cool if I came down and watched them fly this weekend. They're having their first race of the winter season, which just so happens to be in a brewery. So I don't know if I want to go down there and then try to drive 60 miles home. I don't know.
Wow, interesting.
So, yeah, with that being said, I would like to switch gears real quick and we'll switch it over to Ron for a spin up. What do you want to call it? Spin up roundup. How about
Spin
that?
Up Roundup. I like that. Well, as a lot of you know, I was at the Spin Up on I don't already forget the date or whatever. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before in Austin, Texas. It's an event hosted by Kelly Schurz of Ready Set Drone. Where people from all over the country. I think the cost was I don't know, like it was between $100 and $150. I forget the cost, but you could go and it was like almost like a 3-day event because he had the main function on Saturday where he had speakers and they had an official dinner on Friday night at Sam's Boat, and then they had an official flying event at a park at a baseball field the next day on Sunday morning. So that was the 3 things, and I made a list up of I met and shook hands and talked with at least 28 different drone pilots there, and I didn't get to anybody. I mean, I talked to some famous people like your Ken Donos and Ken Heron, but I also talked to a lot of people that you wouldn't know their names too or whatever. But everybody was real nice. I mean, all the drama you see in the drone world kind of disappeared there. I didn't see a lot of animosity or a lot of people thinking they were better than somebody else because they had bigger channels. It was kind of like a Woodstock for drones. Like it was 3 days of peace and love among the drone community. So, I'm sure people have watched a lot of videos or heard things about it. So if anybody in the panel or anybody in the chat has any questions, just throw them at me. I'll try to answer them as best I can. I mean, one of the highlights was when Scott Parazitsky got the aviator stick out at a break. We had 2 speakers. We took a morning break. One speaker and then went to lunch. Well, during that morning break, Scott got the aviator out and flew a Phantom 4 with it. And Ken came up and he flew with the aviator, and he said it flew fine. And the worlds were perfectly aligned at that point.
Yeah, really? Okay. So wait a minute. So they've actually met face to face?
Yep. In fact, somebody
did they shake hands?
They shook. Well, I have a picture. I don't know if they shook hands, but they definitely stood side by side. And Ken flew the drone with the aviator, and he said it flew good. And but during Scott's presentation, somebody asked Scott when the question came up, said, "Well, something about will Ken Heron fly it?" And Scott just real quick said he already did, and moved on. But then that was before they actually met outside, and he flew it, and again, everything was worlds were aligned then. And Scott, a whole bunch of people. I mean, it was a big line. I didn't get to try it because the line was big, but I mean, I'm going to say I saw 25 or 30 people fly the aviator stick.
I like that one. You can't spell drone without wrong.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's on on a couple of our shows or whatever in the chat. He's a great guy. Well, usually gives me a thumbs up on my YouTube videos. So again, does anybody in the panel here have any questions or comments at all about Spin Up that I could?
Yeah, just you all throw them in there. I think John had a question he was wanting to ask Jay about.
Yeah, I did. I was going to bring it up if the chat didn't have any questions at the moment. So, Jay, you are, at least to me, you are the jumper man, and the jumper
exactly.
Video for people in the chat that don't know.
They should sponsor you.
Yeah, they do.
They should sponsor you.
He has more videos on this radio than I think anybody on YouTube, and I think it'd be good to talk about it. Let people know what is so special about it. Tell your jumper story per se.
And Ricker even switched to jumper.
Okay, so yeah, it's a very relevant topic.
All right, so to the whole sponsor thing, they haven't sponsored me, and I haven't gotten a dime off them. They did make this for me. This is a one-of-one T8SG that was dipped. That they dipped for me. Basically saying
wait.
For.
Oh wow! That's badass, man.
I mean, the owner of Jumper contacted me and he said, "Look, I really like what you were doing with our radios and whatnot. We've made something special for you. Would you mind if we sent it?" Well, it's like, of course, send it to me. Absolutely. But Jumper, I'm just gonna set this over here.
What's going on with the audio? His audio is gone, or is it just me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got
you.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So the Silver T8 SG was my first one, and that's like this was right when I started kind of taking off as a channel, but I'm still doing, I'm gonna say 70% super toy grade stuff. A lot of your SEMA, a lot of your JJRC, a lot of your eSheen stuff, and having the room that I do full of drones because I am a hypothetical hoarder, and not wanting to get rid of stuff. You can imagine when I review or I want to go fly something, even though it's a disastrous mess, but I can generally find a way around it. Looking for a controller, if I've accidentally placed it in the wrong place, would take some time and would be very frustrating. So to be out the jumpers, for anybody that doesn't know, is a multi-protocol controller. It's not just for toy grade stuff, but there's the T12, which is operating off of essentially OpenTX firmware. They're using it as Jumper TX just due to FrySky not being too happy with them utilizing the OpenTX on it. I still have my T12 running on OpenTX. So when I turn on, it shows OpenTX. But basically what it does is for entry-level pilots, you then 90% of your Siemens are going to bind to this. A lot of your older eSheen, a lot of your older JJRC. You then have a hobby grade style controller, which is then going to transition you into the next part of droning. And then here you have, let's see, let's go bottom right. Bottom right, you have a T8SG. To the left of that, you have the Carbon T8SG voice mod, I think, which has voice mod where you could flick switches. It'll say throttle on or throttle kill or whatever. To the left of that, you have the T12 that we just showed with Hall gimbals. To the left of that, you have T8SG Lite, which is just that. It's an extremely light controller, limited protocols. But instead of going over all these controllers, where I was going was, if you're in the toy grade world and you want a hobby grade style controller where you don't get to search for all of those now you have a feel for a more hobby style controller, and then you can start transitioning into Fatuba, and that looks like a T12, a little bit grainy. What is that, T12?
Yes, and Jay convinced me to get the jumper last year.
So I mean, for me, I absolutely love deviation. I have every single jumper that's out there, and I really don't use the T16. I really don't use the T12 just because I know deviation like the back of my hand. OpenTX, I can definitely bind stuff up. I've done videos showing people that it isn't hard. It's just a different language per se. Yeah, as far as the jumper goes, it's definitely a leap in the right direction for the hobby, and I think actually. I know for a fact.
You went out there.
Yeah, your mic keeps going in and out. We're not sure what it is.
Well, that's terrible. Hold on. Let me shut this window. Hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just closed my other web browser. Maybe something was interfering. But yeah, I know fact there's going to be another controller, another multi-protocol controller that is going to try to do something along the lines with what Jumper done for reasons that I can't talk about. And and I can't even elaborate anymore on that, but something's supposed to be coming that is going to probably pull me away from Jumper.
Oh wow, man, that's twisted. Wow,
yeah.
that's because John was just like, you're the jumper man. We're saying they should sponsor you, and now you're saying I might be leaving.
Well, I mean, I have how many jumpers I have, and I have how many drones programmed into these. So I'm probably going to keep the drones that are dedicated to the jumpers. And this is just hearsay. I've not seen any specs. I've not seen any pictures, but the hearsay that I've gotten from the buck per se is pretty strong. And if I'm allowed to tell who the buck is when this product does come out, then it's like a super flip. It's something. There's a reason for it too.
Wow.
There's a big reason for it.
So Jay, have you had a chance to try the DJI system?
FPV.
Nope. And the only I would like to try it. I won't buy it. I won't buy it for myself just because of the cost and how proprietary it is. If they would have made it a little bit more universal to maybe some of our gear, or even interchangeable, like where we can use their receiver or their camera versus using the majority of the setup, or even be able to use our Fat Sharks with their camera and the receiver. I think I'd be more happy to get into it, but I don't want to have to buy. I don't want to have to buy their stuff for each quad.
Right.
Like even I'm notorious for AKK cameras, all-in-one cameras, 200 milliwatt cameras. I've taken them well over a mile on toy grade drones. And what I like to do is not have them permanently fixed. I like to pop and swap. Just take it, put it on something, go to the next thing, and something at that cost that DJI's charging out, I would like to see it a little bit more interchangeable. What about yourself? Have you tried it?
I have one.
Okay.
And I got it with 2 air units and put 2 on 2 of my drones, and it's awesome.
Nice. Yeah.
The main thing, aside from like having like awesome image and awesome video quality, that you can see was, when I first, because I'm very new to this hobby, I started flying probably like end of June, and so I built 3 quads, and they all were flying great, had great image quality, because I have an Eagle Run Cam 2, and on 2 of them, and then I have a Fat Shark HD3s. And out of the, when they're all brand new, they were having, I was doing great. They look great. But after several crashes, then I started getting a lot of static. And then just trying to troubleshoot that was a nightmare. I tried the capacitor, tried, putting the ground wires on the same ground, all that stuff. And, sometimes it fixed it. Sometimes it would do better. And then I'd have a crash and it'd be all crappy again. So not having to deal with that nonsense and just having great image quality all the time is awesome.
Ed Ricker had the DJI FPV system at Spin Up.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm flying through. It's like now I can fly through trees and through woods now that I wouldn't even think to try on my analog stuff.
Well, did you see that I posted? Well, John, I sent it to you or everybody in our chat about the guy who used the DJI system, and he's got like a rider on it using Crossfire that he can run an analog signal out to everybody else to pick up.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Yeah, there's been a few people I saw that did the analog mod where they wire in an analog receiver, and they say it works pretty good. So,
and something else, our friend Zoe Stoneball has come out with a lithium ion FPV drone battery. What is it, 2-cell that she's coming out with right now?
Correct.
Yes. So lithium ion power, she's getting 20 plus minutes out of a pack.
that's awesome.
So FPV's heading into a new world. I think we're all supposedly they're working with nanotech for the ion field of batteries. So maybe we'll be able to get more juice into a smaller package. I don't know, but that doesn't really make any sense, but we'll see.
Bring it up because isn't the Mavic Mini an lithium ion too? I noticed that right away that it wasn't a LiPo battery. It's a lithium ion.
And I just reading that on the specs in my live feed, I was a little bit confused because I don't know anything about lithium ion.
It's like the trucks. Your trucks run on them. Your big crawlers and stuff. A lot of them have lithium ion in them.
So this is what my understanding is the biggest difference between lithium ion and lithium polymer. Lithium ion can have more density per weight, but it can't have as much discharge as a LiPo.
Yeah,
that's why for a long time we need a LiPo because the motors needed so much horsepower. But now I guess lithium ion is starting to catch up, or their motor technology is changing where they don't need a LiPo.
Right, because most of my trucks, like you said, are running off of that, but most of my trucks aren't running off of that. Most of my trucks I've converted over to LiPo because of what he just said, for that initial punch to get it to go a little bit faster and have a little bit more pep.
Yep, same for me. I actually don't have any trucks that run L-ion. They're all LiPo as well.
Right. Yep.
Well, okay, something else. We'll flip another gear here, and we'll see what Jason's opinion is on it. Skydio2. People got an email today, and when I first looked at it, I didn't really look at it thoroughly because John was like, okay, did they give you an idea of, is this the first delay? And I was like, oh, no, they're telling us everything's on schedule. But then if you read it more closely, it's no longer shipping, mid to the end of November. It's now the end of November into early December. But they're telling you that it's in finalized production, but this is apparently the first delay. Everybody just, because like John was pointing it out, and then I went back and read it again, and I said, whoa, now it's saying early December, which is going to put all the other ones, going to push them off another month or two. So the people in batch 3 that are in second quarter may be getting pushed into third quarter.
Bill, I guess I'm always see the glasses half full type of guy. When they said it would come out in November, right away I expected November 30th. So I'm not moved at all by that, because when somebody says something's come out a month, I assume it's the last day of that month. Okay,
so you're giving them from the 30th to the 15th. That's your assumption. So that's still November, I guess.
No, I'm saying I assumed right away from the day I reserved it that when they said November, I assumed that November 30th would be the earliest possible day it would reach me. So right now I'm not thrown off by that email at all, because I never expected the first.
I didn't mean it like that. But didn't the first email just mention November? There was no mention of December.
Yeah, exactly. They just mentioned November, because they mentioned a date in November. They didn't say the beginning, middle, or end. They just said November. So I read between the lines, and I assume that's the very last day in November is the day I should expect it. And maybe they're doing that thing now. They don't want anybody disappointed, so they give that email so it can still show up on the 15th, and then you'd be overjoyed because it arrived a couple weeks early or whatever. So. Yeah. This is a new company. We have I mean, they made Skydio 1, but for most people, this is a new company. We have no idea how they're going to do things differently from other drone companies like DJI and Autel and Unique and throw any other name you want into. So this is a whole new adventure for us with this company.
Well, the thing I thought was cool was how they said, all right, once you get that email and we're calling to collect our money, you got 10 days. 10 days. So the clock starts ticking when you open that email, buddy.
And let me explain what the 10 days is. When that 10 days arrives, you have you can pay them, and also at that point you could purchase either the wand type device, the controller, which is the same controller as a Parrot and Alfie, or both. And you can get extra batteries and whatever other accessories they have at that point. So that's what the 10-day period is for you to decide. Bill, let me put you in the spot here. What controller or controllers will you order with Skydio?
If I'm not neutered by them, just the basic controller, not the
wand.
Huh?
Not the wand.
No, not the wand.
So you won't have the wand to get on the back of your dirt bike and ride out, there and have the wave the thing around.
My insurance doesn't cover hip replacement.
Hey, I saw something today. I don't know if you guys saw this. It's a guy. It's a motocross guy that he's had the Skydio for a long time now, and he does these kind of awesome videos. I mean, you turn the sound down if you don't want to hear bad language, but he showed a thing the other day where he had it in follow me mode, right? But he brought he stopped his motorcycle, got the motorcycle with the drone still hanging in the air. He got the regular controller out, the Parrot controller out, hooked it up to his phone or whatever, and then took over flying with the controller, with never landing it, just arming the controller in mid hover and just taking command then with the controller rather than having to be just in follow mode. So I mean, it definitely has some neat things going on that you haven't seen from any other drone.
Oh, okay. I can see DeMarco did not buy the Air.
DeMarco was hoping for OcuSync. He wasn't going to buy the Mini unless it had OcuSync, because he has the Air and he doesn't want two drones being enhanced Wi-Fi.
Yeah, well, that'd be a tall order for something that small.
Well, see, unlike I'm not like Marcus. I know that if I tried to do that much, that I would probably find my stuff on a couch outside. So I wouldn't go that far. But what I'm wondering is, wouldn't the controller be basically like the fob or whatever, or the beacon? Shouldn't it have basically?
Beacon. That's
shouldn't it have the same tendencies? I mean, or is it going to have completely? What makes no sense to me is if it's a controller for the drone, wouldn't it have the same?
Well, here I can answer that question, Bill. With a beacon, you don't have to have the phone tethered to it, so it's much more mobile that you don't have a phone hanging on top of a controller. But otherwise, I know it has longer flight range with the controller than the beacon. I mean, the beacon's still good, but again, with a beacon, you don't have to have the phone out of your pocket, which is a big advantage if you're on a motorcycle. Or Jay, you ride some quads back in that field behind your house, right?
I have a Chinese UTV that I ride back there.
So you could do well with the beacon just on you with that thing.
Yeah, I've thought about that. But as far as autonomous flight, I like to fly drones to fly them. It's a really good idea. I mean, the technology that they're putting into it's a really good idea. It's a really good theory, and I think it'll work out really well for certain people. Especially a lot of your I don't know what you want to call it, the exports per se. Right, guys that are into ATVing hardcore or into even going out mountain climbing. Maybe you're climbing a really tall mountain and you just want this thing to kind of just follow you up and around the mountain. From the video promotion that I've seen, it's not just going to lock on you and give you a boring view. It's going to kind of lock on and kind of do a pan around you and catch different angles, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
For me though, like even drones that I have followed me, I don't use it unless I'm testing it. Just because it's not something that has really been as far as like you said, I definitely have a use for it. I could put it to use, but I would rather be on the sticks and actually flying it.
Well, we have, but with this drone, that's the great thing. You have that option. You could not buy the beacon, just buy the controller, and you could just fly just like any other drone you have. You would never have to do all that stuff. But of course, if you were flying at full speed and you weren't flying that correctly, it wouldn't run into the tree. It would fly around the tree at full speed.
Right, I've seen that, and that's actually rather impressive. I think I've seen something where they were just pitching forward, and this thing's just dodging stuff, and then just pulling the stick straight back and then dodging stuff. That is really impressive.
In other words, Jay, you'd never have to go digging for it in the abyss. if everybody doesn't know about the abyss at Jay's flying field, he has that kind of, I guess you'd call it a valley full of trees and everything else, and he flies over that abyss. And most of the time, he's good. He flies over and comes back. But every once in a while, you lose one in that abyss.
And there's two of them. It's from strip mining. There's one of them that's really, really nice, not so aggressive. But then there's another one before I get out to like the 1K mark that's really, really treacherous to go down. I went down after, I think it was a JDRC H37 or something. It's something really toy grade. I crawled down into it and I was fighting daylight to get out. It took me an hour and a half to climb out of it. So it's definitely not fun.
Talking about selfie drone, the selfie drone. I remember that. Oh yeah. My goodness, do I remember that one, man? I lost that one too.
Well, go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
Yeah, those selfie drones, they would and I made a demonstration. I got knocked pretty hard for it. I think it was the pink one. I showed exactly what would happen with it if you didn't do this, and that with it, which I didn't prior to the flight. But I made it an educational video, and it did. It showed me just following this drone, and it just took off. The drone just disconnected, and see you later. Traveling, and I'm like running through over an abyss, down an abyss, trying to, ended up crashing it.
A lot of people don't like drones you fly with your phone only. And it was a phone flyer. For the first one was. Right.
Yeah, a lot of, I mean, even Spark. The reason I have an Apple iPhone, which I use an iPhone SE, or I have an iPhone 6, is because of the whole phone thingy. I got a Spark, and I went to update it, and it would not update. So I'm getting online guys to tell me, you need an iPhone. It's like, dude, I don't need an iPhone. I've had Androids all my life. I'll be fine with an Android. I'm telling you, get an iPhone. So I got the cheapest iPhone I could find, which was an SE. Again, I still have it. Like that, done. it's updated. Controller updated in 3 seconds once it connected to that iPhone. But yeah, so prior to that, I was flying a Spark, and I have a video of it. I was flying a Spark just with an Android cell phone, and it sucked. It wasn't fun. it wasn't enjoyable. I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't as enjoyable as having sticks and actually being able to.
Exactly.
Okay, something I saw in the chat, and Jim, are you in the hospital? I didn't know about that, my friend. Are you okay?
Above and Beyond Drones. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know who's Jim now.
Right here. See, Jim. Above and Beyond Drones.
Above and Beyond Drones. Okay.
Okay, let's see. Excellent to hear, Jim, at Above and Beyond Drones. See, Steve is asking about.
Okay.
That's what I was curious. I didn't know. Yeah, he's a lot of the information that I found about some of the cool stuff. He finds, he's like me. He likes to find really obscure drone news and post it in. He has a group of the same name on Facebook. As a matter of fact, wait a minute, Jay, tell everybody about your group on Facebook.
I have a group. I have 2 groups, but the larger one that you're probably thinking of is Drone Days. I believe it's maybe like 25,000 members worldwide, and it's an open platform drone group. It's for everything from your agriculture drones to your DJI stuff to FPV builds to your whoops. It's a group open for everybody, from beginner to the most experienced, to builder to tinkerer and everything. The other group that I have is a $1 paid membership group. It's called a Drone Exclusive, and I have that because I tried Patreon. It didn't go well, and that's the only other thing that I do for the J Drone channel, for me as a creator and moderator of stuff on Facebook and whatnot, is that group. So that's the other group that I have that people kick in $1 a month, and that's ran the same exact way. It's basically open for everybody, and that group also, we play around with RC cars in there. It's not just for drones. I mean, our RC cars hypothetically are.
Okay, so Jim is giving us an update. His wife is in the hospital. We hope your wife is doing well. Glad to know that. Kenny, glad to see you, buddy. Glad to have you in the house. Okay, Jay, this is completely off the drone subject, but something that popped into my head after you took your van journey. What kind of backup cam did you put on the van, and was it hard to install?
I don't know the exact model, and I have upgrades for that too. But just to answer your direct question before we deviate too much, it was super simple to install. The monitor is wireless, and it plugs into the 12-volt cigarette lighter. So that part's simple. Just monitor up there, plug it in. The back is the mount for my license plate, which has a camera on it. So that's super simple to install. Then you have wires that go off of it. You have 2 wires. You have a positive and a negative. Negative, I grounded to the vehicle. So I just found a metal spot, I grounded to it. And the positive, I found out which wire was coming off of my reverse light.
Okay.
I just shaved it a little bit, and I tied it right in there. So reverse, that camera goes on, and then I get the feed to the monitor up front.
Okay, so you don't have any breakup or anything? It's always good?
It depends on a very, very large truck stop. There's a little bit of latency because it is wireless, and where I mounted it, my antenna is actually pointed away from it, and the back end of it's pointed where it should be almost linear to it. So there's a little bit of latency, but it helps enough because there's no windows on my van besides the 2 front ones. So, and it's actually pretty wide. So to have that view back there, it gives me a little bit of reassurance that I'm not going to hit somebody. So a little bit of latency. Like I'm not just throwing it in reverse and going 90 mile an hour backwards. So it definitely works.
Well, that's great. I'm sorry because the only reason I wanted to ask is I have a van myself. My wife is a new driver. She needs a backup camera on it, like our Jeep has on it. So I had to pop that in there real quick because it came into my brain. Donnie, glad to see you, buddy. Donnie's in the house. Big Drone Flyer 77. Rick Halber's in the house. Thomas O'Sullivan's in the house. And go for it, Ron. What do you got to say?
Bill, can I shout out a few people in the chat room?
Go for it, man.
Well, I saw Steve Carpenter came in here. I had the pleasure of meeting Steve Carpenter at the Spin Up last weekend. We walked into Santa's boat at the restaurant on Friday night, and Steve gave Mark and I both a big warm greeting. It was great to meet him. We have the great Chris Hope in the chat with us. I had the pleasure of meeting Chris Hope. Chris Hope is from East Texas. He's just a great guy. It was just a pleasure to meet him. And Art Carlson was in here earlier. And guess what, Bill? Art Carlson won the giveaway of the DJI RoboMaster.
Yeah, he told me it was coming any day now, maybe even today. Did it come today, Art? Who knows? Who knows?
If it did come today, Art wouldn't be in here because you have to put the thing together.
Oh, you need to, hey, Art, when you get it, just go ahead and run like a 9-hour live stream and put it together.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't worry about just every now and again glance up and holler out at the chat, but just keep putting it together.
And of course, Marcus and DeMarco went here earlier. Of course, they were both at Spin Up too. So, we have a kind of Spin Up crew going on here. But again, just great, some great people there. So
here,
back to the regularly scheduled program.
Well, now here's something I want to bring up now, Ron. Since you're in really good with Kelly, and we really hope everybody. Look, here's the deal. We got a long time between now and potentially when Kelly would have Spin Up 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know that there was a big step up in the people that showed up at Spin Up this year, but there's still, Kelly needs 100, 200 people to show up to make Spin Up be really something worthwhile. So between now and then, you all need to consider, hey, maybe opening up a savings account, like a Christmas account, but call it your Spin Up account for next year, and maybe put some money away. And even if Kelly doesn't have it, because it's kind of didn't work out financially, then you got money saved up for a drone and your wife won't get mad.
Right. And there's always talk of an East Coast Spin Up.
A West Coast Spin Up. Yeah, me and Curtis Dart want to do something out here. But
there you go.
You're going to do it. Who's going to do an East Coast Spin Up? Dono and Kyle?
Well, yeah, maybe they Ken can have it down in Florida. It doesn't matter what time of year it is, whether it'd be good to fly down there.
Well, what I was wanting to say is, and something I think would help Kelly, and since we all kind of know Kelly, he's been on the show with us before. He ought to get presenters like Jay down there who are really still hungry and really care about the sport and are dedicated, not just to, they're going to figure out ways to keep the drone in the air and keep people flying. So I think that it would be really great for him to get like up and coming, like, Dono was there. Ken Dono was there last year. So, but here's Jay right at the, pushing how many subscribers you got now, Jay? Like 10, 12,000, 14?
I think like 14.4 maybe.
There you go. So see, by the time Spin Up rolls around next year, Jay's going to be right around 20K. And see, Kelly started out doing toy drones and everything that we're all into. And I think that would help. It's great to have some big names there, but it's also great to have people that are there that you turn to when you're trying to figure out how to modify your jumper or your SEMA or your, because you're always looking at their videos.
Bill,
Bill,
you make a great point. We had 6 presenters that day, and my 2 favorite presenters were Barry Markowitz and Sean Oz because they were actually attendees of the event. You saw all them weekend. The other 4 presenters were just people that came in to present and then left. I would like to see all 6 presenters be people that were actually, part of the Spin Up, conference, and not just, somebody just brought in to speak. So I like your idea, Bill.
Well, I'm just saying maybe it would be a good idea to bring, some of your, for that matter, bring Ethan in or John or, Ryan or, hey, Eric the Red, glad to see you, buddy. I know you've been pumping out a lot of videos. I'm going to try to get over there and watch them very soon. Anybody in the chat that hasn't checked out Eric's videos, he does a lot of interesting fishing and boating and droning and outdoor type stuff, a little bit of everything. So jump over there and check it out. Anybody got anything that they want to add?
Thomas O'Sullivan said we should have a Spin Up over in Ireland.
All right, Thomas, you got a field for us and you got room and board for everybody?
I would go in a heartbeat.
Yes, I would love to go. Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll go to Ireland.
I'd stick drone batteries in every orifice to get them on the plane.
Hey, that is one good thing about a little 4S or a 2S. They're a lot smaller.
Well, I don't think I would try like with the little girl coming back from where was it, Australia that tried to pretend she was pregnant and just to get out of the fee.
Yeah.
But anyway,
You wouldn't try to sneak over a 6S in your orifice, I don't think.
oh good Lord, could you imagine what happened if it leaked?
Hey, Ethan, can you plan a drone spin up in Cuba for next year?
Yeah, sure. I tell you what, I'm never going back to Cuba ever.
Or at least not flying a drone.
Yeah, I'm not going back ever. Nope.
Never.
Does Jay know that story? I don't think Jay knows that story. Go ahead. This is our new claim to fame this season on Drone Therapy. Ethan tells everybody about what not to do in Cuba.
Yeah.
Ethan.
So Cuba is a communist country, for those of you that don't know, and they don't react very well if you're flying a drone in their city. So what happened? What happened was probably about 3 years ago, we went down to Cuba, and I decided to take the Unique Breeze with me. And so one morning I got up 7 o'clock in the morning and started flying around Havana in this little square, and flew around for about 10 minutes, landed it, and picked it up, put it in my bag. And when I was walking back to the place we were staying, I noticed 2 cops running after me, blowing their whistle and everything. And they asked me what I was doing, where my papers were. Didn't have any papers other than my passport. And they promptly started pulling me off, saying, "You got to come to jail with us." So I pleaded with them to get my friend that was fluent in Spanish, because I speak a little Spanish, but not enough to get interrogated by. But so they allowed me to bring my friend, and then they took us to jail. They withheld my passport and basically arrested me for about 3 hours while they interrogated me by a military investigator. And basically, once they discovered that I had no military affiliation and I was just a tourist flying a toy drone, they decided to let me go. But needless to say, it was not fun.
So the bottom line, Jay, if you ever get any trouble in your next visit to Cuba, just drop Ethan's name or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that working out.
Oh, it was not a pleasant experience. I was to the point where I was like, just keep the damn thing. Tell them they can have it. I don't care. Just don't arrest me for 30 days. Like they very well, they could do anything they want. So it was definitely not a pleasant experience. I would not recommend it.
Okay, John, you were so we were talking about micro FPVs earlier. Jay, do you by any chance have any micro FPVs laying around, or what millimeter were you talking about earlier, John? What, 85, 85?
Jay, if he had his Beta FPV Micro build, he recently put up a video about it on his channel. I think that's a pretty new flight controller from Beta FPV, right? So I was wondering if you could show if you have it around.
Yeah, it's around. Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna leave my shirt. It's literally right behind me.
Oh, you're
okay. Yeah, because I didn't want to put you on the spot, but
all right, continue. I gotta go to the restroom, gentlemen. Continue. Excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me.
Well, after Jay's done his FPV drone, Jay can tell you about some of his videos with the Unique Breeze, Ethan. Jay had some good adventures with the Breeze over the years, haven't you?
Oh, me and the Breeze go way back.
Yeah,
that little chime up, doo-doo-doo, that means I hate you. I actually have 2 Breezes, and I don't know. Before we touch on this, which I have it right here, which John's talking about, and I actually put a top onto it from the last time that you may have seen it, John.
Yeah.
Put carbon top on it, but the Unique Breeze, no issues. And then I went to fly it the next time, and this thing would start, and then boom, it would rocket up, and then it would just fall. And I couldn't figure out what it was, but after almost destroying this thing, like I had to fix the button on it. I had to order a new button for it because the button broke and whatnot. The second to last crash before it knocked into itself, the optical flow glass popped off of it. Mm-hmm. Once that optical flow glass popped off, like a champ. So it had to have something to do with that mirror type glass. But with this Beta FPV Fry Sky board that's in it, Beta FPV motors that are in it, and I forget what type of props these are that I have on this. This is the frame that I put it on is a 90. I think it's a 90 millimeter frame, which is from a Ghoul RC drone. that I killed when I first started flying FPV that I smashed into a swing set. I think it was, went head on, and the whole thing just shut down. But this extremely light build, super light build. I was using, I think, 350 milliamp batteries on it that fit in between these posts. Clearly, I could put a bigger battery underneath it and probably get longer flight times. But super simple build. I did have issues with it. None of these motors were marked clockwise. None of them were marked counterclockwise, which I'm not big into building because my soldering sucks. Plain and simple, I can solder, but it sucks. And I was able to get lift off it, so I knew the propellers were right, but the thing just wanted to go like this. And then somebody schooled me on a Tiny Whoop page and brought me over to, I think, it's BL Heli program, where I was able to correct the motors and whatnot. And this thing flies like a champ. I absolutely love it. I like small micro FPVs. There's no FPV camera on it yet. I plan on putting one on it. This thing, I think this thing's a little bit larger. I don't know what millimeter it is, but this thing's one of my favorite ones that I have, and I don't even know what it is. I'd have to look at one of my YouTube videos. But I like smaller brushless drones. They're just easier to take with, and I like the way they sound too. I don't know.
Yeah, that's really cool. So that beta FPV build that runs 1S, right? 300 milliampere hour batteries.
Yeah, the flight controller is strictly 1S. I think there are some guys that are running 2S on it, but it's advertised as 1S, and I think you really was a 3S battery or something. Which drone was that?
I can't remember now.
I can't remember off the top of my head either, but I can't remember what it was. But the first batch of them, if you ran that 3S battery, you're frying it. So I'm being very safe with this as advertised as 1S. We're going to run 1S on it. It doesn't have a lot of punch up, but it has considerable punch out, left and right. So I'm definitely happy with it.
Oh, I just remember the drone, the Selfie. That's right. The Selfie is the one that you burn.
Right.
That's a really cool build, man.
Thank you. But yeah, the Selfie, I would not say, after you said that, and after a couple other people said that about it, I'm like, no. I'm just gonna stick to a 2S battery in this. I don't need to rock a 3S and potentially kill it.
Yeah, mine is still down. I've still got to get a new flight control board. I'm waiting to try to get one of those. Actually, maybe I should look into a different board. I was gonna try to replace it with one of the new Crazy Bees. I don't want to pay $50 for it. I know you can get it as low as 30. So I'm just waiting for a sale, waiting for one of those sales to come in.
Yeah.
So
come Christmas time, a lot of those flight controllers should be down because they probably want to push them out because new stuff's going to come out throughout the new year. So hopefully you'll be able to get one for that. That's a huge thing with me. I don't like breaking my stuff because, again, I suck at soldering. I can solder and I can fix stuff, but I'd rather not. I'd rather just fly it, kind of push the limits a little bit on it, but have my stuff intact.
Oh yeah, I tell you what, that's one thing I'm probably going to be upgrading on my drones is the flight controller. I'd like to get something that's compatible with the DJI system, just to have that, plug it in and go, so I don't have to solder up a whole bunch of nonsense. Is definitely appealing to me.
Beta FPV one that John had me show you, there was no soldering, zero soldering on it. It was all plug and play.
That's awesome.
I had to modify the board. Let's see where, I don't even know. Austin. So I had to modify the board. I took a 010's board and mounted the flight controller on it, which you're probably not going to be able to see. But I'd take 010's board, mount that on, and then zip tie it to the frame.
gotcha.
So
Good to go. That is really nice.
How much flight time you get on that?
I think it's like around 4 minutes. Not really super heavy goggles, but fairly aggressively line of sight.
Gotcha.
Pretty cool.
I was
Anybody?
gonna say back onto the Unique Breeze. There's mine sitting right there.
That's yours.
And so last summer I actually waterproofed it and
Nice.
took it out to the Chesapeake Bay and just did a few tests on some electronic waterproofing. It actually still works great. Actually, when I got back, because the salt water out there, I brought it back and ran it underneath the sink. So, clean out all the salt water, and it still works great. I will say though, the optical flow camera, Yeah, that glass on there. I think I broke that glass probably like 2 months after I first got it, and then I noticed it flew better.
It does. That I mean, I have how many drones, and so many of them have optical flow sensors on them, and none of them have a protective glass over it. None of them, besides the breeze. And if I would have thought about it before I crashed it a million times, it would have been really apparent. Oh, look, it's that glass. None of your other drones have it. It has to be that. But once it was broken off, it's really apparent. It was definitely an issue.
Right.
I think what it was is oils from your fingers get on it and impair it from actually seeing, because it would fly. Let's see, it would fly well over top of grass, but then when it got over the pathways, which are black around here because of the pole, when it get over them, it get all screwy because it wasn't able to see through that glass. So that's just horrible manufacturing on their part, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I guess we'll have to wait for the unique breeze too.
Yeah. Well, things have come so far, so fast in a short amount of time that Unique has to do a huge catch ups now.
They need to release something along the lines of the Spark, the old Spark, to even get their name back where it should be. I mean, they got bigger drones, but DJI has it. They really.
Oh yeah.
I can't stand fanboys, but DJI has the market. They have your bottom level camera drones to your higher level camera drones, and if you're going to be competitive in the market, you really have to have the bottom and the top to compete. Even if you're not the top, you have to have something in comparison. You really.
Oh yeah.
Well, Jay, Unique stepped up. A lot of people are reviewing that new. What do they call that little one? The Manus G.
Yeah.
A lot of reviews out on that.
Oh, yeah. It's that time of day.
I think that's Unique that may be Unique on the line.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'm really hoping to see something from Parrot and Autel. Maybe not this year, but hopefully in the early next year, I'm hoping to see something from those guys.
It's kind of funny that y'all are saying that Ethan brings up Autel, because their offices in the States are only like 15 miles from my house.
Oh, okay.
I only live like 15 miles from Bothell, where
you should you should do a live stream and go knock on their door. See what's going on.
This is what this is what's so crazy. I take my daughter over there every Tuesday to a bowling alley. That's like, I go across the street on the bridge, and like it's behind the crop of trees like this, and I just look over at my wife and I'm going, Autel's headquarters are like right over there.
Yeah.
Jay, have you ever had a chance to fly Evo?
Knock on the door and say, when are you putting that 1-inch sensor on your drone?
I haven't. I've actually never had a chance to drone.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I know by reputation, because I had a friend that was in Florida. He had 2 drones. I can't think of what the one was, but the other one was an Autel drone. He had a lot of money invested in it. But everything I hear about Autel, even the Phantom style looking drones, the orange pumpkins and the newer ones, it's good money. It's really good money from what I hear. I don't hear bad things about them at all.
Oh yeah. So when I was testing the Evo, doing a whole bunch of videos with it, the one thing I was really blown away about was that the image quality straight out of the camera, the colors and the image that came just straight out of that camera without even having to touch it, looked awesome. Now it wasn't as good in quality as like the Mavic 2 Pro, but you didn't have to touch it, and it looked awesome. Then you had the 4K 60. So if you're doing a lot of fast moving stuff, that looked great. So, but yeah, I was definitely very impressed with it. I actually probably would have kept it hadn't I already had a Mavic 2 Pro. So
right. Did anybody see the Autel videos that were slamming DJI?
No,
anybody see those?
You
didn't see those? Yeah, they're all over Facebook, and it's a pretty good video. So I don't even know how to bring it up, but it was trashing DJI drones because you can fly Autel without any restrictions,
right?
And that was their selling point. That was their selling point. And it was a really funny video. Again, I have DJI drones, but it is what it is. When you compare drones, you're comparing stuff that doesn't have restrictions versus restrictions, and that's the way some people buy. Some people will buy DJI because of those.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that Jay actually brought that up, because John and I were talking about this earlier, and we're going to do a public service announcement. We're not going to say anybody has to follow these rules or whatever, but the DJI Mavic Mini is weighing in at 249 grams, which means you do not have to register it with the FAA. It does not mean you can break all the rules. You still are bound by all of those rules. You got to go use Lance to fly near airports and everything like that, just like you did before. You simply don't have to put your name on a little, registration card and put it on your drone. So you still have to follow all the rules, even though it don't weigh that much.
Yep. I would like to point out, Cardosa Media made a point. He's saying if it's selling point, but you're not supposed to fly somewhere, then you probably shouldn't, right? That, there is truth to that, especially people, speakers that are brand new to flying a drone that have no clue about airspace. I agree. And it's definitely a good feature on DJI products to, make you aware of that and, make you jump through a few hoops.
Right. So yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
I know, like myself and all the other professional pilots in my area that I know, all of us have a DJI drone and we have a non-DJI drone, just for those circumstances where you don't have cell phone signal, so you can't unlock the thing, or if you're out on the water, there's a lot of like no fly zone or, overlapping airspace that we can get clearance for, no problem, but you still have to go through the nonsense on the drone to get it to unlock. And if you're over water, sometimes it'll do some weird stuff when it hits an airspace and it'll want to land, which is no good for us over water. So those are certain issues, if you're looking to use it as a professional point of view. And like I said, if you don't have if you don't have data out on the water, or if you don't have data in those areas, you can unlock it. And also, if you look at the FAA flight charts versus DJI's flight chart map, DJI's is way more restrictive than what the FAA says.
Yeah, that's a good point, Ethan. Just the other day, I was out flying in Brigantine down at the shore, and I checked air map. I checked a couple of the maps. I was in total open airspace, but as soon as I put the Mavic 2 up or whatever, it was warning me, you only have 150 meters till a no-fly zone or whatever, and it was much more restricted than, what the air map is showing me.
Oh, yeah. And if you have, like, in my area over on the Chesapeake Bay, we do a lot of flights over the water, getting shots from the water. There's a lot of overlapping airspace. And so if you get one unlocked and you fly into the other one, it's going to stop right in the middle of midair. And if you don't do something, it's going to want to land.
Right.
Which is, it just makes it a lot more nerve-wracking than it needs to be, because on air maps, you can get the whole area unlocked, no problem.
Right. Or if you took the Anafi up, you wouldn't have those issues.
That's why we take the Anafi out.
Right, isn't that kind of sad that like that's the state of owning a DJI drone, especially if you're a professional. You literally can't depend on it to be there for you if you have a job to do. I mean, it's pretty sad.
Oh yeah, that's why that's why the Anafi goes with me everywhere. And I will say, if the Anafi had a camera on it that was just as good as the Mavic 2, I wouldn't even bring the Mavic 2.
You mean the Anafi Pro that's coming out in January?
Yeah, right.
The Anafi Pro.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah. John, I mean, we all know what DJI is trying to do. They're trying to stay one step ahead of the FFA, I'm saying the letters right. Yeah, they're trying to stay one step ahead. When the laws get more restrictive, they want to be ahead of the game so they don't get caught with their pants down like the other companies. Like
here's the deal, Ron.
Don't have any restrictions.
I get what y'all are saying, but I told you all this when Femi came out, when Xeno came out. DJI saw the potential for a small upstart company to start chewing at the bottom of their tower. And they knew that they had to get something out there right at the top tier of a toy grade if it was going to be considered that. And the 249 grams is just a sheer convenience, because we were all begging for a foldable Spark that shot 4K right out of the box. We were all begging for that. So they immediately went to the drawing board to get a foldable Spark. And then they realized, wait a minute, we can shave a ton of weight off of this thing now. So let's just throw in the 249 as something extra.
Yeah. Well, the one thing about the Mavic Mini, the spec wise, that I am really disappointed in is the 40 megabit 2.7K. I mean, come on. And 30 frames per second and 25, not 24.
What's up with 25 frame rate?
I mean, are they taking a play from Canon here? I mean, I really don't understand it at all.
Here's another fact I didn't know, Ethan. So I saw that 40 bit rate, and I thought that was honest. I wonder what the spark was. I looked. The spark is
it was 24.9, something like that.
Yeah. So,
but the spark had a histogram and manual exposure, which the Mavic Mini does not.
Ethan makes some great points. It's a camera downgrade for the Mavic Mini. This can do what three exposures. It can do burst mode. It could do a whole bunch of things.
Manual white balance, yeah.
That as we know right now, that the Mavic Mini won't have. So you may get more resolution because of the 2.7K, but I'm going to test it when I get the Mini, and I'm not going to test it against the Mavic 2 Pro or any type of drones like that. It's going to be tested against this thing because that's the one this is replacing. And in some ways, it won't better this. This has the optical avoidance. It has more control over your camera.
Active track.
It can follow active track. So in some ways, the Mini is a downgrade over this outside the 2.7K and the longer flight time and being slightly smaller with a foldable wing. So Ethan brings up some great points. I'm going to be interested to see how much if this may still be the better camera drone.
I was really curious to say like, did they not put 4K in from a marketing point of view, or was it to save to extend flight time? Because if you're going to process a bigger, larger file, it's going to take away from your battery power.
But either the rumors, again, this is just rumors. People saying this online, no sources, nothing official. That DJI it overheated when at 4K. That they had to cap at 2.7 because they think the Mini won't have every DJI drone have fans, and they don't think the Mini will have fans. They'll just use air cooling. So the 4K made it run too hot. Again, all in the rumor. The rumor, just pure rumor.
Could be.
Oh, you see something out there?
What did y'all think of the magnetic battery? I noticed that Dono, when he was okay, did he tell you the correct pronunciation? I noticed that you've called him Dono. Is that the way we're supposed to pronounce his name? Dono?
Don't go by me saying, I may say it different every time I say it. But no, I saw when he showed the magnetic thing at the conference or whatever. He thinks that's the best thing about the magnetic battery.
Well, it's because it wasn't flying. That was my kind of gripe. I was like, if that thing is autonomous and has all these abilities and can fly, why didn't they have it in the air? Because it's supposed to be so stable and so fantastic. And that was what confused me. Why didn't they have it in the air? Because he hung around long enough to see if they would fly it. So that's kind of got me bothered too, because they were at a UAV event in Las Vegas. Autel's apparently showing off some stuff that, that they only wanted to be announced out there. I don't know, but makes you wonder, why wasn't it in the air?
Well, inquiring minds want to know. Before we get too far away from the Mini, let's take a straw poll of the panel here, and also the chat room. In the chat, say it too. Who here either has already ordered the Mini or intends to order the Mavic Mini in the near future? We raising hands for a yes. And anybody in the chat room, if you ordered, you are going to order. Say.
Okay, let me do this. I have a Hubsan Xeno for sale at a good price.
Right. I tell you what, and for those of us that aren't interested in the Mavic Mini, hit me up. I'll show you how to do a battery mod on the Anafi to get it under 250.
Oh, okay, but can you put a lithium? Can you modify it to take lithium ion batteries?
Probably.
Ooh, we got her. Okay, you've heard it here first. We're starting the new American drone company right now. We have the greatest minds.
Yeah, well, too bad you're going to Mini. I'd like to see you do a video comparison, Mini versus Nafi, to see how it would stack up.
Well, Ron,
I can tell you right now, the features that are in the Anafi are going to blow it away right now.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, let's get something straight here with specs. So, I mean, we're talking about specs, and the spec. We know the specs are true now on the Mini. We know the Mini, but you know, not everything plays up to its specs. I mean, I've had cameras in my life. The specs are lower on camera A than they are on camera B, but camera A takes better photos. The specs don't always tell the tale all the way through. Would you agree, Ethan?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and they
some cameras outperform their specs, and other cameras underperform their specs.
Well, if you got to go and look at the manufacturing specs is what you really need to look at, not the specs that they advertise. You know, you got to look at like the manufacturing specs, like the bit rate. You know, what kind of sensor are they using? What kind of image processor are they using? Those are the things you got to look at. And then also, that'll just tells you the hardware that's in it, whether it's capable of doing high quality or not. You know, then you got to look at the software side. Did they dumb some stuff down, or did they hold some stuff back? You know, like picture profiles. That doesn't, that's not really any more processing stuff. And
right.
Like the whole, manual exposure, they gave it to you on image, on photo, but not video. That, that stuff doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. Why are they holding back?
Or, maybe it could be, hopefully they will release that, and it's just not complete yet on that new app that they designed.
It'll bring some of these missing features that we are wondering why they aren't there now.
Yeah,
so
they did design a whole new app for it, so they could just be missing because it's not finished yet. So
right, and the app's not available to get from the iOS store yet, or whatever. The app probably won't show up until around the 11th when the drone first hits the Best Buy stores.
Yeah, something else too about the Mavic Mini. Yes, the stories are true. Affiliate links get you nothing. So there's even, if you follow on the affiliate link page, you can follow it to the top. There's a disclaimer at the top that says, due to policy changes, apparently there's going to be no money given out for affiliate sales from this point on.
All right, I won't become a millionaire off my Mavic Mini affiliate.
Well, so I the cool thing is maybe it gets you brownie points. That was kind of why, because normally I don't post affiliate links because I was kind of anti-affiliate links. But then when I found out that we don't get anything off of it other than, potentially, they let us test a drone somewhere down the road, I guess. I was cool with posting it then. So let's see, we've been on for an hour and 15 minutes. We've been really jamming at it. I don't know if anybody needs to take off and go do other things. This is a point in time when I normally offer that to anybody. And I also want to give a quick shout out to our wild and crazy guest next week, Mr. Philly Drone Life. Mikey himself will be here with us to have some fun and craziness to kick off the month of November. So be sure to tune in for that. Also, anybody need to go, or anybody want to add anything on a different subject?
I would like to talk to the switch over to the FPV guys and see if anybody has thought about getting the GoPro 8 to fly with yet, or heard anything and see if it's any good.
GoPro, I like to smack GoPro. I really would. there goes any type of sponsorship from them. No, I don't know. I would like. I don't know. They're just coming out with stuff, and I mean that's the market. That's what technology is. I've seen footage on the GoPro 8. I have the 7 Black or whatever it was, Hero Black, that they came out just recently before that, and I don't know. I think the camera's not too far off from the one. It does offer just a step up more, but it's just constantly. I don't know. It's constantly evolving their camera, which again I understand completely. But for me, I'm not rich by any means. I'm blue collar worker. I'm not retired. To buy the GoPro 7, I didn't want to do, but I did, and I showed why I did because I put it on a drone that was getting horrible yellow from an older GoPro, and put this on it, and it was a Jello eater. So the technology in it definitely works. I would like to almost see them do software upgrades, or possibly take the camera that you had bought recently. Say, look, it's another $100. We'll give you the new one. Right. But I have seen footage, the promotional footage, which we always can't go by promotional footage. I've seen footage from it, and the footage does look amazing. And I think when somebody does strap it on a drone, it is going to be amazing. Because GoPro's not one of those companies that say, "Oh, we're going to do this and it's going to do this," and then they flake. They're kind of like the DJI of action cameras, where what they put out on the line is what it is. So as much as I'd like to smack them in the face, I would like to see somebody throw it on a drone. I would like to see the footage that comes out of it.
Yeah, I'm very curious too, because the GoPro Hero 7 in 4K can only at 60 frames a second. Its bit rate only tops out around 75, where the DJI Osmo Action can do 100.
Right.
And so the image quality coming out of the Osmo Action is better, but the it doesn't have super view.
Right.
And the big thing that I've noticed whenever I put it on one of the FPV quads, anytime you want to do a flip or a spin, the rock steady stabilization like takes a second. So, that start and end of the spin or the roll is very jerky because of the rock steady. I get something about the software algorithm is a little off from
Right.
what the GoPro 7 does it perfectly. It looks great.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's to go completely, not too far off. We're still talking about cameras. Parrot has the Nafi. Parrot had something when they had the Bebop 1. I did a side-by-side comparison of the Bebop 1 to the Spark. On paper, specs from the Bebop 1 beat the Spark. The ARS, the anti-roll stabilization, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with anti-roll stabilization, basically say this drone right here, the tip of this is the front of it, and this is the way it should fly. The ARS on that drone, you could spin it completely like this. The image never shifts. You can't tell that it just did a barrel roll.
Wow.
I don't understand why they haven't taken that to another level. Even just implemented it into an action camera.
Right.
Because if you have that anti-roll stabilization in an action camera, sure, you're not going to see that barrel. But what it's also doing is it's canceling out 99.9% of pitching without a gimbal.
Mm.
Right.
And I don't know. It does just kind of side point on cameras and whatnot.
Yep. Well, back to the Parrot having great image stabilization technology. I noticed that back with the Bebops also. But, when I first got the Anafi, a lot of people asked me, they're like, well, it doesn't have a 3-axis gimbal. I'm like, well, Parrot's been really good at this. I'm curious. And then when I got the Anafi, you can't tell it's not a 3-axis gimbal. You can't tell. On the Spark, yeah, you pan too quickly, you're going to see it jitter a little bit. But
absolutely.
The Anafi, you can't tell. You cannot tell that's only a 2-axis gimbal.
Yeah, Parrot definitely EIS, which is electronic image stabilization. They have something there, and that ARS, the anti-roll stabilization, which no other company has done. They need to run with it. They need to do something with it.
So that now that you mentioned this anti-roll, I actually noticed something with this last firmware update that Parrot just pushed out to the Nafi. They've added this feature called Dynamic Horizon, which basically locks the gimbal so that the horizon tilts similar to like an FPV drone. But if you look at the drone, while it's pitching, the gimbal still staying flat.
Right.
It's like the motors are still keeping it stabilized, but your horizon is tilting in the viewfinder. So I was like, well, it's not it's physically not turning the camera, it's doing it in the software.
Yeah, electronically, they have hands up electronically on other companies, and they have had for a long time. Like I get it all the time from friends and people on YouTube. I want to get a good camera drone. What should I get first? I said, well, look, go find a Bebop one. Find a Bebop one, do a battery mod on it. You'll fly for 15 minutes and you'll have a dope camera. If you like that, then you can start going into more expensive stuff, because the cameras on and again, I believe, because I have a Bebop 1, I think Bebop 1's camera is better than the Bebop 2 camera. Side by side, I absolutely think there's something that's better in the first one than the second one, but they know their technology in cameras.
Yeah,
it's really evident.
Yeah, I would be jumping at the bit to purchase an Anafi Pro if they ever decide to come out with something like that.
Right.
Because the image quality that comes out the Anafi is basically, it's almost exactly the same as a Mavic Air. And I'll post a link again in the chat, but I did a video comparing the Anafi's P log against the DJI Mavic 2 Pro's log.
Right.
And I color graded them to match. And it is, obviously it's not as good as the Pro, but it is definitely really, really good.
Okay, everybody's trying to say that after next week, when Mikey's on from Philly Drone Life, Coast to Coast drones will never be the same. But guys, you all forget that I had wild and crazy Dan the Man on here to start the original season of Drone Therapy. And Dan would always do some wild and crazy stuff, but Dan knows a lot about drones. So he was a big part of the show when we were on here in the first season. So I don't think that it's good. I think Mike's going to have a good time. We're all going to have a good time. Now I might have to put an adult rating on next week's show because Mike might get a little loose and a little wild, but that's okay. We've had some people on before that do that. And we just put an adult rating on the show and go at it like normal. So just wanted to jump in real quick and tell everybody thanks again. I'm going to do a round the room check again to see if anybody. Ethan, are you still a pumpkin?
I'm still good for a little bit.
All right. John, how are you doing?
Still good for a little bit too.
Ron, how you doing?
I got 5 more minutes. I'm going to go down and watch some of that World Series.
Jay, are you doing okay too, or do you need to bail?
I'm all right.
All right. Give us a subject and let's roll, gentlemen.
Oh.
Anything.
Well,
Lloyd brought up something. He said, here we go. I really like my SEMA X8 HW better than my DJ Mavic Air. And I was going to call bullshit.
now, Jay, is the HW the one where if you pulled the stick down, the altitude hole would it would send it right to the ground?
SEMA H. Yes, that's the altitude hold one that had that like candy red paint on it, and I like SEMA. I love SEMA. SEMA is jumpable. 90% of SEMAs are jumpable, but if anybody says they like that drone over something else, they definitely need to get your head.
It's really a great beginner drone, man. Was the SEMA X5C1, and that was my favorite beginner drone, man. I love that thing.
Basically a SEMA clone. It's the same exact body. World Tech Toys makes a different controller. And eventually I got my hands on a SEMA X5C with a 2 megapixel camera. I was able to take some really, really dope pictures out of that 2 megapixel camera, and people did not believe that it came from that drone, to the fact where I actually had to wear a hat cam and show them what I was doing. And you can get some decent stuff out of it. You know how to manipulate the drone.
Yeah, I don't doubt that in the least. I mean, I think no matter even a 0.3 megapixel camera, I think you can snag a picture that you can play with and do something with that might not be something you're going to make a video with, but you might be able to do something with the picture to make it creative enough to, consider it art. So, I mean, it just depends on what you're willing to do with it and how you're willing to work with it. Because the way we look at it here, all drones are therapeutic and everybody has fun with them.
Sure.
Hey, Bill, real fast. I want to shout out Mike Ray, who just entered the chat here. Mike's a gentleman that I met while I was at Spin Up.
Yeah, he's been in a couple of times tonight. Glad to have you in the chat, Mike. That's
He's a great guy.
Okay. They're implying that I'll never be the same. Nah, I think I'll be pretty much weird and unusual like always. And Curtis says he's going to be here for Philly because he's got to support his guy. I just want to shout out Curtis Dart. He lives down the road from me. We still haven't hooked up, but he's the guy that I'm probably going to get with, and we're eventually going to try to put up something in the Pacific Northwest for like a fly-in or a spin-up or something up here, because there's a local group that flies here probably about about 10 miles from my house. They have a field, and it's actually big enough to where people could come camp out and still go fly in FPV drones, fixed wings, everything. The field's that big. So
maybe we can have a drone stock there.
Yeah, we could literally have something like that there. So I got to get with him, and we'll try to get with these people and see if we can't pull something off for either next year or 2021.
Hey,
I just
Bill,
thought that was kind of neat. Yeah.
Go
ahead.
There's a rumor out there that Curtis has ordered the Skydio drone.
No, no, no. I know better than that. Curtis is waiting on someone like me who might potentially buy it to go, oh, no, no, I don't like this drone. I will sell it to you at a discount price. So, yeah. So, but yeah, that's what he says. And I don't think he's going to buy the Mavic Mini either. I don't know for sure, but I don't believe he is. Well, he's got a lot of big drones and stuff, so I don't think that. Let's see. What are we going? I got to go for dinner. Thank you, Steve. He's going to go catch up, and he said hi and bye to everybody. Cool, Steve. Glad to have you. And Curtis is saying, yeah, right. He's going to, yeah, okay. I found it figured. Yes, thank you, Steve, for coming in and enjoy your meal.
So I'm actually
here.
So talk about the Mavic Mini again. I'm very curious to see how this is going to stack up against drones like the Xeno, the Femi, and you know, the Anafi.
I'm going to bet you that the 2.7K looks better than the Xeno's 4K.
I don't know. Marcus sent me a raw file of the Xeno, and that looks pretty darn good. Yeah, well, the bit rate was up there. It was 100 megabits. I'm pretty sure. It looked pretty good.
We got.
What size is the sensor on the Xeno?
It's probably 1/2 is what I'm assuming.
So it's the same thing.
Yeah, I think, or I think, but it may be slightly smaller than that. We talked about this in the show, but I forget all the facts and figures and whatever. Maybe Marcus, are you still in here?
Yeah, he's rumbling around.
Do you remember the exact sensor size of the Xeno 1? Because the Xeno Pro has a slightly bigger sensor. Or I should say bigger. The Xeno Pro is a slightly different sensor.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, not that guarantee it's bigger, but it's different. But yeah, so back to Ethan's point, I will be very interested to see how the Mavic Mini stacks up against the other drones. We'll say at what, $700 and below.
Yeah, I still think if you can find a refurb Anafi for around the $400 mark, you need to scoop that up.
Yeah, I would. Without even touching the Mini yet, I would still agree with Ethan 100% or whatever. I mean, if it has better video than the Mini, I will be shocked. I mean, if the Mini has better video than the Anafi, I will be shocked.
Well, just from what I've seen so far on these reviewers that had it and that have released videos today, I have not been impressed.
Okay. Yeah, the depth of field seems to fade in and out. I'm not going to deny that.
Way over sharpened.
Yeah, and the saturations are kind of ridiculous. I'm not going to deny that either.
Well, these guys are making it look the best too. They're not. That's not straight out of camera.
And you can see
everything Bill just said there is common of cheaper cameras. In the old days, when you used to buy like an old point and shoot, they used to always over sharpen, over saturate. So again, that's characteristics of a cheaper camera. Would you agree, Ethan?
Oh yeah.
Well, and something else too that I'd noticed on the uploaded footage was you could see the pulsing from the 40 megabit transfer in the actual. You could see the boom, boom.
Oh yeah.
Boom, almost like the heartbeat. I was like, oh, that's the transfer rate. Oh well.
Oh yeah. And a lot of them had like way too much contrast, or that could just be them grading it like that, or the dynamic range is crap on it. Who knows?
Or God forbid we're stuck with auto white balance.
Yeah, well, that too. That's terrible.
I'm hoping that we got some manual controls, but I haven't seen any sign of that.
For any of you guys that like to shoot auto, just please do this one thing: set your white balance. That's all I ask.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't use the auto white balance function.
No.
Set it to whatever it looks like at the moment.
Yeah.
And number two is lock your exposure. Don't do the thing where the exposure changes every time you change the direction of the drone. Lock that exposure.
Okay, yeah. Saying it's an Ambarella A12 processor. That's not gonna IMX. Okay, Kenny, you're the camera buff. Well, is that the same size sensor as what's in the Mavic Mini?
Well, that doesn't tell the size there in those stats. That's just telling the particular spec of it or whatever. It's not really giving the size.
I don't think it's I don't think it's I don't know. It's kind of funny. It looks kind of like a Mavic Air, the way the sensor or the way the camera is designed almost. I don't know. Can only adjust.
I want to answer this to Cardosa Media. He points out that, everybody's watching everybody watches these videos on a mobile device, which is very true. So, does it really matter if you're shooting 4K versus 2.7K? So this is the thing. So the higher quality that you can upload to YouTube, because it's already going to compress the crap out of your stuff anyway.
Right.
So the higher quality you can upload, the better it's going to look on your mobile device. If you guys are looking at like Peter McKinnon or like Matty Hipoya and or Chris Howe, any of those guys, the reason that their videos look that good is even though a lot of them are still filming in 1080p, those cameras have like a 400 megabit bit rate at 1080p. So when they upscale it to 4K and they upload that to YouTube, it looks awesome.
True.
Yeah.
But not necessarily the resolution is the thing; it's the bit rate. The bit rate makes the big difference.
Yeah. And another thing, like Peter McKinnon has a full production crew now.
Right.
Sorry, John, go ahead.
I was going to say, you brought up a really good point, and I say this all the time. Upscale your 1080 video to 4K. It's really the only way to get a good bit rate. In case you guys didn't know, YouTube crunches your 1080 video down to like 12 or 8 megabits. And if you've got a lot of action going on in your video, it's just not going to be enough. You upscale that to 4K, immediately you get 60 megabits. So I've been doing that for a while now, and I'm a lot happier with the footage that I upload as a result.
Oh, yeah.
Something else I wanted to throw out there real quick that's crazy too. Ordering, okay, as usual, the DJI Select accessory coupons have no effect on the Fly More combo for the Mavic Mini. No surprise there. Okay, now it's actually cheaper for someone like me to go to my local Best Buy on November 11th if I wanted one and purchase it from them rather than ordering from DJI. Would be saving like 20 to 25 bucks, and I can still get refresh and save 25 bucks, which is why would you buy from DJI?
Yeah, why not just go to the Best Buy on I think the 11th is a Monday, right? Go Monday morning, show up at your local Best Buy.
Yeah, well, but go ahead.
That's my thought in the matter. Like I thought about everybody's ordering now, and I want the drone. I like what it looks, what they're showing on paper, and I'm not looking for it to be in comparison to a lot of the other drones that cost $700-800 because we're not paying that. I'm looking for it to hopefully take over my Spark, but to be able to go to Best Buy and just grab it. That's where I'm at with it. And again, like you said, I might actually save money doing it that way.
Good point.
Yeah, it's not money. If you have any problems with it, is how easy is it to just take it back? Right. I mean, I saw who was it? Sean Oz. When I was first considering my Mavic Pro purchase, way back when Mavic Pro first came out. Man, he bought his initially from DJI, and wow, he went through what a hassle to return his Fly More combo. And he was saying to everybody, don't order from DJI, buy it from Best Buy. And yeah, there's really no advantage to buying it directly from DJI at all. Or whatever.
My first Parrot Bebop, I bought from, I don't even know what the site was called, but they sold through Amazon, and I purchased it off of Amazon, and it didn't work. I had a heck of a time getting a hold of the company. So long story short, it ended up going back to them, and I went to Walmart. They were still selling them in Walmart at the time. I bought it there. If it has an issue, well, guess what? I'm taking it right back to Walmart with my receipt.
Yep. Walmart is like #1 in returns. They'll take anything back. It's not going to be a question. So,
yeah,
right, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's a lot of people ask me, even in the live feed. A lot of people, I ordered it now. I'm waiting. I'm waiting until, like John said, I can get in my car. I can just go drive. I can pay for it. I can have it. I can take it home and play with it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I was like. Why not just go to Best Buy and pick it up? Because I didn't even think about that till I saw you on your live stream before I sent you that message. And I was like, that makes sense. And I got to looking and I was like, man, I can even save money doing it this way.
And even though I ordered the Mini from DJI, I still like if I don't have a tracking number by I don't know whatever sometime next week somewhere near the 11th, I'll just cancel the order and just go over to Best Buy and pick it up or whatever. I have an update too. One of the rumors that wasn't true that was out there was that this Mini would be in short supply, that you'd have to order it right away or you couldn't get it, whatever. Well, it's 10:09 on the East Coast here, and the Fly More and the regular Mini are still both available on DJI's website. So the short supply rumors were not true.
And a huge part of the Best Buy thing that we'll touch on, just one more thing of it, is sure, the drones that were shipped there were probably shipped on pallet. They were probably brought there by a tractor trailer. But what they were not done, they were not separated from that pallet. They were not handed over to your post office. They weren't handed to your FedEx facility, who might have some angry workers because they make them tuna casserole, right? And throws it up on your porch, and now you have a busted sensor or something's not working properly. And then again, like John said, now you got to go through that hassle to when you've waited in the mail, and now you got to wait some more.
Right. Or they could be throwing them up on your porch as the initial crash test of the drone.
Right.
No, but that makes it, Jay makes a good point or whatever. Somebody unloading off the pallet onto a shelf in Best Buy. That person could have a bad day too, but there's less hands touching it.
Right. It's a little bit less touch.
Yeah.
Main point period. It's actually a lot less touch.
So another thing we haven't talked about yet, as of some point this morning, they weren't on Amazon yet, but I suppose that before the 11th, you'll be able to order from Amazon too, which of course another company has an easy return policy. If you say something's wrong with the drone, they're taking it back. So
I need to jump in here quick, really, because I want to do something that we've decided to add every week. And this week, the man who inspired it himself is the grumpy vlogger, Lloyd Mendenhall. I wanted to tell you, Lloyd, because we had done it a little bit in the first season here and there. A few channels do it here and there, but Lloyd does it without cause every week on his show. And Lloyd's been coming here every week and showing support. And I wanted to let him know how grateful I was that he did that. And, and tell him that he inspired the weekly shout out here, and he should get that honor the second time that we've given it out. Ron was our first recipient last week. And thank you for coming in every week there, the grumpy vlogger. And again, at this point in time, Bill's going to have to turn into a pumpkin because I still need to go watch my daughter. But, I can check back in and out. We can all talk afterwards like we normally do. So I would like to go around the room and allow the gentlemen to say their good evenings. Jay, I want to tell you ahead of time that I'm very grateful for you coming on. And I'm sure everyone here would love to have you on again whenever you potentially get your Mavic Mini so that we could all discuss it, because Ron might have one. I might have one. Don't know about Ethan and John, but we'll have to see. All right, so I'm going to pass it to John Cuppi.
All right, it's been awesome, guys. Happy Halloween. Good, fun, safe Halloween. Jay, Drone, awesome to be on live with you. It's really, really cool. Learned a lot of good stuff. Wow, see you back, man. I'm going to turn into a pumpkin pretty soon myself, Bill. So with that said, I'm going to toss it over to Ethan.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out and hanging out with us in the evening. It's been a great chat with everybody. Jay, it was great to meet you, and look forward to seeing your video on the Mavic Mini when you get it. And good to see Ron out with us again tonight. And as always, thanks for having us out, Bill. And with that, I'll pass it to Ron.
Thank you so much, Ethan. Yeah, it was great to be on the show tonight with a super panel and having Jay as our special guest tonight. I had Jay on my show a while back. He was great, so it's always fun hanging out with the Jay Drone, who has one of the the best, most interesting, and on his YouTube channel. Not only do you learn a lot, but it's fun. It's a good time along the way, which I like that. So I want to give an update to the World Series. It's 2-0 Astros. It's like about the 6th inning. So everybody, when they get off here, tune in and root for whoever you want to. But we'll say go Stros because I know a lot of people from Texas now since I've been to Spin Up. And I want to congratulate Lloyd, the grumpy vlogger, for winning the what was it called? The
weekly shout out.
Weekly shout out award winner, and that was a great graphic Bill put up for you. And I always like on Lloyd's show when he says something grumpy, and then Mel puts that flame up or whatever. On Lloyd. So Lloyd's always uses some good graphics. But I guess I'm gonna throw this back to Bill, and then he can throw it back to Jay. Is that what you want me to do, Bill?
That sounds good to me. Okay. And I'm just going to go back to the full-blown panel view. And I'm going to say thank you, Jay, for coming on. I'm going to highlight you and let you say your good evenings to everybody, and then we'll do our graphic and get out of here.
All right. I definitely appreciate you guys having me on here. I haven't been live on too many people's channels. I think this is only the second channel that I've gone live on. It was a pleasure being on here, talking with you guys. Look forward to possibly doing it in the future. Myself, I am married, despite all the fancy rings. This one is married. So pumpkin too, just to keep my wife happy. I could jabberjaw with you guys for like the next 2 to 3 hours easily, but I think I should back out, just like some of you guys are doing. Yeah, and again, appreciate you having me on here.
Well, that's very great. And everyone who doesn't know, just go to your search bar in your YouTube channel and type in J Space Drone, and you'll find Jay's channel. We're very grateful to have everyone here. I want to give everybody a quick update as what's coming on. Yeah, John's already taken off because he had to check in with the wife. And I want to give everybody a quick update. We're going to have Philly Drone Life on next week. And then on November 13th, please don't forget to get your videos in. I'll make sure to check that link again. The email is in the description for Color Grading 2 with Ethan Mitchell. On November 20th, this is another Ethan Mitchell inspired show, The Money Shot. We'll give you more details as we get closer. November 27th, right before Thanksgiving, we're going to test drive our new segment for the show by having a full show of UAV Medic, where we try to troubleshoot and help you fix your drones live on the air. If we can't find it or the chat can't find it, we'll start Googling stuff on the internet and see if we can't get things working while we're there. Okay, and on December 4th, I do believe we're confirmed, we're bringing back Marcus Crawford and Ron Brown, Xeno Nation, for a Xeno Brothers update show. We may even try to get a hold of DeMarco Moore. Who knows? We may have a bunch of stuff coming up. Please, everybody, come back and join us. In the meantime, live long and prosper.
See you guys.
Why is it not working? Oh, I'm on the wrong button. Sorry, Jay, this button.